Hello everybody, this is Albert with Great Tea House. I hope you're doing well today. Today we're going to talk about why historically tea has never been popular in Latin America. Now before we begin, if you haven't done so already, check out our back catalog of episodes and I'll make sure that I put the playlist of the history of tea up here along with some other episodes. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. So, some of you are like, why is this topic important? Well, to me, I think tea is interesting, and the history of tea I find fascinating. So I did create a playlist called The History of Tea, so I do plan in the future to do episodes on different parts of the 4,000 year history of tea. So Latin America. Tea historically has not been popular here. And there's a couple of reasons why this is. And I think the best way to do it is to juxtapose why tea became popular in English colonies, but not in Spanish colonies. Most of you guys know that Latin America was colonized by Spain. Brazil was colonized by Portugal. But in England, tea was exceedingly popular. And I'll make sure I definitely put a banner up here for the 4,500 years of tea history in 10-minute episode to explain why that is. But when the Portuguese brought tea back, they were the first to bring tea back to the West. They didn't really do a good job of advertising, for lack of a better word. But the Dutch were the second ones that brought it back. And they're the ones who gave us the name tea. We'll put a banner up here. Why do some countries call tea or te and others call it cha? But the Dutch did a better job, and eventually the Dutch were able to sell it to the English. The English created the East India Company. This is all in the 1600s, and the rest became history. England became the predominant purveyor of tea within 200 years. They broke the Chinese monopoly, and so as a result, all of England's colonies, tea became very popular. But Spain was different. So a couple of things. Tea in itself never became popular in Spain itself, in the Kingdom of Spain. And so when tea became popular in the rest of Europe, it didn't become popular in Latin America because it wasn't popular in the home colony of Spain. Also, you have to look at kind of like the mercantilist setup during this time of the 17 and 1800s. So with mercantilism, pretty much everything in the colonies had to be brought in by, in this case, and most countries use mercantilism in the 16 and 1700s, but in this case, Spain. Spanish ships had to bring everything to Latin America. And then anything Latin America harvested or created had to be sent back to Spain, and then Spain would trade with other countries. So the idea of Latin American colonies trading directly with other countries was anathema. This would not happen because colonies were all set up to help the mother country, right? So this plays a role in it too. Spain, tea but never became popular, and then as a result, this is one of the reasons why it wasn't popular in Latin America. Now, the big thing is this. Latin America, whether you're going from the Rio Grande all the way down to Patagonia, has awesome plants that make amazing infusions. And I think this is really the main reason why. So let's just say you look at Mexico. Mexico, agua de Jamaica is exceedingly popular, otherwise known as hibiscus. I used to go to Mexico all the time when I was a kid. My family is from Mexico. My parents were born in Mexico. So I would go to Guadalajara and visit my grandparents. And I remember as a young kid, they would serve this weird Kool-Aid drink. And I just thought, this tastes so strange. And it was agua de Jamaica, or Jamaica water, otherwise known to us white people as hibiscus. And so Jamaica is exceedingly popular in all of Latin America, in the Caribbean, and all the way down south. Manzanilla, chamomile, is another very popular infusion tisane that is also popular in Latin America. And there's a list of other types of drinks that you can get from different plants that are popular from the Rio Grande all the way down to Patagonia. If we're looking closer to Patagonia, yerba mate, right? Mate, we have an episode here. Mate, the shrub, very popular in Paraguay, southern Brazil, Argentina. It's pretty much the only tisane that has caffeine. And so this shrub is endogenous or locally grown in this area of Latin America. So it makes sense that the colonials would be like, hey, this tastes good. Oh, hey, this gives me this caffeine spike, even though they didn't know what caffeine was. And hey, I like this kind of stuff. This tastes good. And so this is the big reason. Now, I'm not saying that there's like no tea popularity in Latin America right now. What I'm saying is historically, while tea was driving the West crazy, including the American colonies, think of the Boston Tea Party, I mean, per capita tea consumption in America was very, very high all through the 1700s and in the 1800s. Latin America is like, wah, wah, not so much. And so these are some of the reasons. But I think the big reason was kind of the commercial isolationism that Latin America had, but also they just had really amazing drinks like Jamaica and yerba mate to drink from. And so they're like, yeah, tea's great, but we get these things. They're local, they're cheap, don't underestimate that, and we can drink this. Now, if you go to Latin America, it's just like here in the United States, you can pretty much grab because of just the availability of tea and the way we have due commerce today, somebody in Buenos Aires or Asunción or Puebla, Mexico can get any tea they want, any of the 6 categories of tea. But this is historically, I think, the main reason why tea has never been popular in Latin America. Guys, post in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care and God bless.